So SB 918, the bill that would essentially ban concealed carry in the entire state of California, is somehow even worse than I initially thought. Looking through it, it seems as if there's not an actual spot that I can legally conceal carry a firearm. So SB 918, the bill that would essentially ban concealed carry in the entire state of California, is somehow even worse than I initially thought. Looking through it, it seems as if there's not an actual spot that I can legally conceal carry a firearm anywhere in Santa Rosa, California, where I am located. And it seems like some people could fall into a situation where they're forced to get a letter of reference from a former domestic abuser to be their reference to get a concealed carry permit. It sounds insane, but we're going to be talking about it, and it is actually the case. This is not clickbait. It's this real. Let's go take a little drive and talk about it. Okay, so let me know what you guys think down below. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. Okay, so after recording this and after editing it, I forgot to mention the most important parts. There were a few things that were changed as far as the requirements to get it. So in addition to increasing the potential fees for renewals, increasing the amount of hours required to get it, so it went from a minimum of 8 hours to a minimum of 16 hours to do the training. Now, all of this is coming out of your pocket. If the state actually cared about getting people training and making sure people were safe and responsible, they would offer this sort of training for free, but they don't. They want you to spend your money. They also increased the maximum cost of the psych evaluation, so some counties do require a psych evaluation. They're increasing that from a 150 max to a 200 max, and then as inflation and cost of living increases, that number can increase with that as well. So let's talk about the references and how a potential person could be forced to get a letter of reference from their former domestic abuser. So the 3 character references, at least one of whom must be a person described in subdivision B of section 273.5 if applicable, and at least one of whom must be the applicant's cohabitant if applicable. You need to get a letter of reference from someone that you live with or formerly lived with, and you must get a reference from someone described in this certain penal code section, which has a weird way of wording because it's from domestic violence stuff, but we will list the 4 options that you have there. The offender's spouse or former spouse, the offender's cohabitant or former cohabitant, the offender's fiance or fiancée, or someone with whom the offender has or previously had an engagement or dating relationship as defined in paragraph 10, subdivision F of whatever, the mother or father of the offender's child. So let's say you have never lived with anyone. You have both of your parents deceased. So that knocks out that. Let's say your spouse or former spouse or the person that you are in a relationship, the only person you've ever been in a romantic relationship with was a person who beat you or abused you. You would have to get a letter of reference from them, and you would be forced to have the department that you are applying with interview them. Does that seem right to you? Now, maybe the sheriff says, no, don't worry about it, don't require that. But that's them being in a position where they are choosing to break the law and the requirements. It could be a weird situation. It could be a situation that happens to someone. You know, maybe a single mother who is dealing with a violent father and their parents aren't around anymore. Maybe they never lived with anyone else other than their child, which, can a child give a letter of reference? I don't know. Maybe they don't have a kid. Maybe it's just their former husband that beat them. It's just a crazy situation that they're going to be requiring this and not leaving any sort of room for interpretation. So yeah, they're going to make it more expensive. They're going to make it more costly. They're going to require you to do more and take more time off work, making it more expensive. And they're going to require you to get letters of reference potentially from people that are not interested in you having the means to protect yourself. The entire property of any location under the control of any officer of the state government, the entire property, including the parking lots of all airports, harbors, and ports facilities. Now, previously, that was just these sterile areas. You could just go and pick someone up from the airport. Now, if you have a concealed carry weapons permit carrying your gun, you cannot just go and pick up your buddy. You cannot bring your gun with you. You have to leave that at home. On any street or sidewalk adjacent to any school grounds. street or sidewalk adjacent to any school grounds. Now, just the other day, I was in Healdsburg. I had to park a little bit far away from the square so that I could go to one of the wineries. Now, I wasn't carrying a firearm at the time because I was going to be drinking, but I had to park my car and go on a walk, and I happened to stumble upon a school. I just realized, oh, hey, there's a school grounds right there. Good thing I'm not carrying a gun. The entire property, including the parking lot of any preschool or childcare facility. The entire property, including the parking lot of any court. The entire property, including the parking lot of any detention center. The entire property, including the parking lot of any facility where any medical care is provided. Now, many of those that I just listed are very common to find in any building. You might be next to a 20-story building and it's full of office spaces, full of rental places, rented office spaces. You don't know what's inside there. If you don't know for certain what is in those buildings, you should probably assume that the entire area, including the parking lot, is an area that you cannot carry a firearm. And now, number 8, medical care is provided. A lot of people think that might mean just hospitals. No. If the strip mall that you're at has a dentist, if the strip mall that you're at has a chiropractor, has a therapist. Now, in a lot of these big buildings, there might be certain floors where there might be a few therapists' offices, where there might be a few doctors' offices that you don't even know about because it's not labeled real big on the front. It's just rental office space. And now you, unknowing to you, are concealed carrying a firearm unlawfully because you're in the parking lot to the building that happens to have one place where medical care is provided in that building. Now, basically what this means is that you should assume you can't carry there unless you know every single door, what's behind every door in every building. You should assume that you probably cannot carry there. Any public transportation that gets any funding from the government, so pretty much any bus stop, train station, all that, cannot carry there anymore. The entire property, including the parking lot of any business or vendor that sells alcohol for consumption on site, regardless of whether it's the primary business. Previously, it was just bars or wineries, wine tasting rooms that you could not carry a firearm. Now, any restaurant that serves alcohol at all, you would not be able to carry there or the parking lot. At any permitted public gathering and on any street or sidewalk within 1,000 feet of any permitted public gathering. Like I said in the intro, I was at the Santa Rosa Plaza, a place where there is often permitted events. Now, you might not know that that event is going on later in the day, but when they get that permit might be good from like 8 to 11 a.m., all the way till 9 p.m. The event might only appear to be going on from 4 to 9 p.m. You might say, okay, well, it's easy to avoid those. But the permitted event is technically occurring from the time that the permit is active till the time that it's over. You cannot be within 1,000 feet of that. Maybe there's an organized protest, 995 feet away from you, and you happen to be walking on the street completely unaware, because 1,000 feet is pretty far. 1,000 feet, you can have plenty of businesses between you and that event that you're totally unaware of. And because of that, you would actually be breaking the law. It's like you don't even have a concealed carry permit. So you're looking at least 2 misdemeanors, maybe a felony. Not ideal. That would be what people refer to as suboptimal. Any park, athletic area, or athletic center, or playground, or youth center, and any street or sidewalk adjacent to any of those things. So, a great example for this for me is the mall. There is a mall in Santa Rosa that has a fitness center inside it. A lot of people don't know that there's a fitness center there, but there is, and because of that, you cannot park in the parking lot there, one of the biggest parking lots in Santa Rosa that a lot of people park at. You cannot be on any of the sidewalks of that entire area because there's a fitness center. Now, let's say there's an athletic area like a baseball field, soccer field. You cannot be over there. You cannot be on the sidewalks next to them. The craziest thing about this is the sidewalks. Because many of these locations have sidewalks that are banned, you can't actually walk to most places, meaning that where can you actually carry? Well, maybe you can get in your vehicle, drive somewhere. Hopefully you don't happen to drive through one of the streets that are now banned to drive on. And then from there, you can get out of your car and probably get arrested immediately. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. All property